Good evening. This is Shri here, and I'm here to provide the recap of the men's single semifinal and also a quick preview of the women's final. The men's semifinal was between 10-time Australian Open winner Djokovic and then Yannick Sinner from Italy. And the second semifinal was between Zverev and Medvedev. So one of the things, two storylines here. Sinner is the only one who has beaten Djokovic at least twice in the last 8-9 weeks. No other player has even come close to beating Djokovic like that. And Sinner had also had an unbelievable run in the Australian Open this year, with almost every match resulting in straight set victories. Djokovic has not been perfect, but he's been good enough to get to the semifinal. So there was a lot of anticipation for this game because Djokovic, while he's definitely the greatest of all time, playing a player whom he has had trouble with in the last year. And it did turn out to be that way, with Sinner completely dominating the first two sets, taking a 6-1 victory so easy in the first set. He was completely dominant over Djokovic. Djokovic clearly did not have answers in the first two sets. The third set, Djokovic, typical, like he always does, bounced back, and he actually won the third set in a tiebreaker. In a game like that, with every other player, what I've seen is that I've seen Djokovic down 2-0 even in the French Open final against Tsitsipas and coming back to win it. But Sinner is a different, he's wired differently. He's been playing the best tennis among all the current players, and he made sure that the comeback for Djokovic would not be there in the Australian Open, and he dominated the fourth set as well, and got to the Australian Open, his first Australian Open final, his first Grand Slam final. So kudos to Sinner for kind of playing the game at a very high level. A couple of stories here. Djokovic did not have a single break point, so that's how dominant Sinner's serve was. In the second semifinal, you had Zverev playing against Medvedev. Medvedev has played a lot of five-setters in this Australian Open, but he's been very consistent, throughout this tournament and throughout every tournament he plays. And Zverev has actually been playing one of the best tennis I've seen him play. Beating Alcaraz was a big moment for him. Alcaraz has been playing well, but I think Zverev dominated that game, especially the first two sets. In this match, however, after Zverev won the first two sets, it was much closer than it was with Alcaraz, and Medvedev. It seemed like the third set in the match was going back and forth, and it did seem like Medvedev would kind of fold with Zverev. But give credit to Zverev to Medvedev, because he did come back, won the next two sets in tiebreakers. Again, Medvedev definitely was playing from the back. Zverev had, the momentum was definitely with Medvedev. However, Zverev had every chance to wrap up the match in his favor. But Medvedev, being Medvedev, Octopus, as you call him, kept playing, kept fighting. There was some incredible point. There were some points that Medvedev should not even have won. Showed a lot of defense and offense, and there was one point where he had to scramble, flicked it past Zverev to win that crucial point. And then in the fifth set, it was Medvedev. It was closer earlier, but I think Medvedev came back and won it pretty easily. So it was going to be Zverev. It was going to be Medvedev and Sinner for the Australian Open final. I will do a recap. I will do a preview tomorrow. But my early indications, I'm leaning towards Sinner. That's somebody who Dr. Dan Kessler predicted. He did predict that Sinner would beat Djokovic, even though he's a big Djokovic fan. So kudos to Dr. Dan for making that prediction. And then on the women's side, you do have the first-time Grand Slam finalist Zheng from China playing against Sabalenka, who's probably been playing some of the best tennis you'll ever see. Sabalenka did win the Australian Open last year. That was her first Grand Slam. Kind of got the monkey out of her back, which is covered well in the Netflix series Breakpoint. And then she did lose the last Grand Slam of the year to Coco Gauff. So it was very sweet revenge for her to beat Coco Gauff in the semifinal. And she's back in the final of the Australian Open. To me, while Zheng has been playing well, I mean, Sabalenka is playing way too perfect. Zheng has to almost play perfect tennis and also hope that Sabalenka has a very bad night. But I don't see Sabalenka losing this one. This is going to be Sabalenka in straight sets. I would call it 6-4, 6-3 victory, and then capturing her second back-to-back Australian Open finals. Kudos to her, and we'll see if that happens. Thank you again for listening, and looking forward to the women's singles final and also the men's singles final later. Thank you so much.